control. In Italy, I wrote, there have been some 700 dead. The Director General of the Health Ministry updated me. 4. The mortality rate is between 2 to 4% of all people who are infected. This is a very high mortality rate. Very. This is a real pandemic. My friend, the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, is a chemist by her training, a very sensible, analytical woman. She estimated that between 60 to 70% of the population will be infected with the coronavirus. If she's right, we're talking about roughly 50 million people. Now, since mortality rates are between 2 to 4%, you do the maths about the possible number of people who will die of this disease. We're talking about very high numbers, very, very high numbers. And it could reach very large numbers here too, which is why we must do everything to make sure that doesn't happen. The last pandemic that we can point at that was similar in its characteristics to what's happening now was the Spanish flu, which ran amok in 1918. I don't know if you know the figures. Dozens of millions of people were killed when the world population was a quarter of what it is now. Our primary goal is to slow as much as possible the rate of infections. That will gain us valuable time, first to minimize the number of sick, to treat the sick in a way that the health system doesn't collapse, and 3, to save valuable time to try to find a vaccine using the best minds in Israel and around the world. On Sunday, I plan to meet the heads of laboratories from the Biological Center, epidemiological experts, to see how we can expedite this effort in Israel. Tiny Israel, it's not that small in many fields. In recent weeks, we made a series of tough decisions. I want to explain that we are in an ongoing event that no one is familiar with. How did the head of the World Health Organization say? We don't know. We know how it starts, we don't know how it'll end, and everyone is working it out as we go along. So we made a series of decisions. We were the first to require everyone who comes from anywhere around the world to go into 2-week quarantine. We ordered mandatory quarantine for anyone in danger of getting infected. We banned gatherings of more than 100 people, and even that, I ask you to try to avoid that as much as possible. Avoid gatherings at all. We earmarked 10 billion shekels to help businesses affected by coronavirus and strengthen our health and other critical systems. We're investing enormous resources in trying to increase the pace of testing, even though we're very high per 1,000 people compared to the rest of the world, but we want to improve even further. I read just now the Policy Forum. I just got an article about the steps we're taking. It says,
the farthest reaching measures of any country in the world to slow the advance of the new coronavirus. ישראל נקטה בכמה מן הצעדים מרחיקי הלכת ביותר בעולם, בכל מדינה בעולם, כדי לעצור ולהאט את קצב ההתקדמות של נגיף הקורונה. זה נכון?
This is true.
אבל אנחנו חייבים לנקוט בצעדים נוספים.
But we must take additional steps, and here I want to speak to you, citizens of Israel. The key to victory is to reduce infections, is to prevent infections. And the key is twofold. First, personal hygiene. For the umpteenth time I'm telling you, please don't shake hands. 2,
אני שמעתי שיש צעירים שאומרים שזה...
Press your own hands. I know there are some young people go, oh, this isn't cool.
זה הכי קול שיש.
It's the coolest thing there
זה
is.
אחראי שיש. זה
It's
לא
the most
משחק.
responsible thing,
מבקש מכם
It isn't a
לשמור על
game.
היגיינה, כולל, כן, שימוש.
including, yes,
עוד פעם, שימוש
A tissue.
בטישו. מסכות זה לא העיקר.
masks are not the main thing. This is the
למנוע
main thing.
התעקשויות
To avoid
למנוע מגע
sneezes,
בפנים
touching your face,
באמצעות טישו.
using a tissue.
זה עיקר. הדבר השני, הדבר הראשון זה היגיינה, הדבר השני,
The first thing is
שמירת מרחק.
hygiene. The second thing is
וזה
keeping
מה
a
שאני מחדש
distance.
לכם היום.
And this is what I'd like to stress for you today. Keep a
אתם רואים
distance.
שהשרים לא נמצאים
You can
איתי כאן
see
על הבמה.
that the ministers are not with me here on the
לשמור על
stage
המרחק המינימלי שהוא
because we
מטר,
couldn't keep the minimal distance, which is a meter, even 2 meters.
זכרו מה שאני אומר.
Remember what I'm saying.
אני ביקשתי להראות לכם בפעם הקודמת מה שאני
I've asked to show you what I would show this time.
נא להראות את
Please show
הסוס. זה מוצר כרגע?
the sneeze.
אין לכם את זה. חבל.
Again, you don't have it. What a shame.
מה שרואים בסרטון הזה,
What you see in this video,
זה מיד אחרי
put it up immediately afterwards,
זה רסס ארוך שיוצא
is the saliva
משתעל.
coming out the mouth of someone who sneezes. It's just a ball of saliva that you can see it. When the room is darkened and slightly lightened up, you can see the fragments of saliva going like a ball
נזרק ישר
that's being
לעבר
thrown
האדם שממולכם.
straight at the person in front
אם
of
אתם
you.
נמצאים במרחק של 2 מטר,
And if you're 2 meters
הוא
away,
לא ייגע בכם.
it won't touch you.
אם אתם נמצאים במרחק של מטר, ייתכן
If
גם
it's
כן שלא ייגע
a
בכם.
meter, it
אבל
might
אם
not
אתם
touch you,
נמצאים
but if
יותר
you're
קרוב,
closer, it will touch you.
ולכן צריך להקפיד על זה.
So you must be careful.
שמירת המרחק היא כל כך חשובה.
It's so important
ואתם יכולים
to
לשמור
keep
על
distances, and you
מרחק.
can protect distances.
אתם מתרגלים לא
It's a
ללחוץ
question about getting used to it. As long as you're used to not
ואתם
shaking
מתרגלים
hands,
ללחוץ
you're
ידיים,
used to wash your hands,
להתרגל לשמור
you can
על
get used to
מרחק.
keeping a
זה
distance.
יכול לעצור באופן
It can
מהותי את קצב ההדבקה.
Substantially stop the rate of infection.
היום, במסגרת שמירת המרחק,
Today, in the context of keeping a distance, we're taking another vital step.
סוגרים את בתי הספר.
We're closing schools and universities.
אמרנו לכם אתמול שאנחנו שוקלים את זה.
I told you yesterday we're considering it.
אנחנו עושים את זה
We're doing it
תוך כדי
with judgment,
דיונים אינסופיים,
with endless meetings,
מכווצים, וזו ההחלטה שלנו היום.
and this is our decision today.
ההחלטה הזאת איננה כוללת
This decision
החינוך המיוחד,
does not include special education.
איננה
It doesn't
כוללת נוער
include
בסיכון,
youth
וכרגע איננה
in danger,
כוללת פעוטונים וגני ילדים.
and it doesn't
אנחנו
include
ניקח פתרונות
kindergartens.
בהמשך. הצוותים
We'll have
המקצועיים
other
שלנו
solutions
ישבו על
later
כך
on.
במהלך
Our special
סוף
teams will
השבוע,
sit on this
בדיוק מה הדבר
to
הנכון
think
לעשות.
later in the week
אבל
exactly
כיוון
what the right thing is to do.
שאין
But since we don't have a 100% solution,
לאחוז האחרון,
or for the
אנחנו
final
לא נשאיר את
percent or
הבעיה
two,
ב-98%.
we won't keep the problem at 98%. So first of all, this.
א' עד ג',
As for first to third grades,
אנחנו ניתן לזה פתרונות מיוחדים
we'll give
לאותם צוותים, לאחיות,
solutions for the same teams for
אנחנו ניתן לזה
nurses and
מחנות
doctors.
מיוחדים, כמו מחנות קיץ שיש.
We'll have special camps like summer camps or
אנחנו
kindergartens.
מאמינים
We
שנצטרך גם לטפל, אנחנו יודעים שאנחנו נצטרך לטפל גם
know that we will have to also deal with the question of public transport,
בכל מקום
prisons,
שעלול להיות מועד להתפשטות
any other place where the virus might spread. It's just
את ההתקהלות.
avoid
תמנעו מהתקהלות. התקהלות
gatherings.
כזאת היא כבר גדולה.
Gatherings like these are too big.
מרחק כזה כמו שיש אצלכם בין הצלמים,
The distance between
והעיתונאים
the
שנמצאים מאחור,
journalists
כבר גדול מדי.
and the
תימנעו מהתקהלות.
cameramen are too close together. Avoid gatherings, keep a distance.
אמרתי שאנחנו עובדים לפתח
I told you that we're
שיטות
working to develop
ולהוסיף את
innovative testing methods.
אנחנו חייבים להגיע גם בזה.
We must here too also get to better results, but for now the best way to minimize the rate of infection is isolation and keep a distance.
ממשלת ישראל
The Israeli government and health systems are doing everything
שלומם,
to
בריאותם.
protect the health, peace and lives, I'll say, of
אני
residents
רוצה
of this
לשבח קודם כל
country. I want first of all to praise the health minister and director general of the health ministry and officials in the ministry, Magen David Adom, medical teams who are doing simply God's work. I want to praise ministers who are speaking here and their directors general and members of the National Security Council who are helping cooperation between us and other countries, and of course diplomats in the foreign ministry, but a special word to the medical teams in the hospitals and Magen David Adom. Beyond what I said here, these people are mobilized with their whole spirits to deal with every sick person, every potentially sick person. They're on the front line. They know that they may be exposed themselves to the virus, but they are not giving up, and we all salute them. At the same time, I wish to praise the preparedness, the willingness of the whole country to accept the restrictions we're imposing. What I ask of you, citizens of Israel, is to continue to show a sense of mutual responsibility and personal responsibility. I was asked a question by journalists who said, but if the children stay at home, they'll infect Grandma and Grandpa. Grandma and Grandpa will be used as babysitters. No, don't do that. Don't use Grandma and Grandpa as babysitters. Big children can look after little children. I am my brother's keeper, and more. I am my father and sisters, father and mother's keeper. Mutual responsibility, breaking the routine. We're acting differently. I said yesterday that in other crises what we've done is we've worked against an external threat, and we've done as much as we can to keep internal routine. In this crisis, we're doing the opposite. We're changing our internal routine in order to confront an external threat, and our nation has always known to consolidate in times of crisis, and this is a real emergency, a moment to stand together. The virus doesn't respect borders. Jews, Arabs, religious, secular, right, left, we're all in the same boat. And in fact, the whole of humanity is in one boat. Like my friends here, I'm fully mobilized for the fight against corona. I'm working around the clock and I'm making decisions. I wanted to say on a daily, but it's on an hourly basis. I'm speaking with world leaders to unite forces and to guarantee that our special needs to fight the virus, these needs will be answers, and so far not badly so. And I also wish to thank people from the other side of the political map who have expressed admiration for the steps that we're taking here for the sake of public health and life. They understand that we are in a historical point of emergency, a national and international emergency. Israel's a small village in a big world. It's a powerful, progressive country, but from its size we're still a small village, and we must use all means at our disposal to defend our small plot of God-given land. This is the job for all of us. 53 years ago, on the eve of the Yom Kippur War, Israel established an emergency national unity government. Israel consolidated and won. I want to do the same thing tonight, to form a national emergency government. It will be an emergency government for a limited time to work to save the lives of tens of thousands of citizens. We must put politics aside, and then we'll come exactly back to point one. But what we need right now is national responsibility, and this responsibility supersedes all other considerations. To work to fight this crisis together, believing that there is only one thing that should be right in front of our eyes: the good of the state of Israel, the health and lives of citizens of Israel. Thank you. Health Minister, please.
Yes, that was Prime Minister Netanyahu announcing the new measures and reiterating the ban on all incoming flights and a self-quarantine. Up next is Deputy Health Minister Yaakov Litzman. Let's take a listen.
The Prime Minister said, respect for the hospitals, clinics, Magen David Adom, everyone who's mobilized till today. Really great admiration, and we're emerging from this the best, but we can't be sure it will stay this way if we don't mobilize all of us personal mobilization for the things the Prime Minister mentioned, the various steps, everything we need to do, then we will not be able to win here. All the steps that have been taken today, yesterday, last week, they're all more difficult than the other. They're not easy. And I want to say, unequivocally, the public normally pays attention. There are some exceptions. We'll deal with the exceptions seriously. We will not hold back from sending police against people who do this. We had one case last night from people who thought they could outsmart the system, and we'll do everything we have to do. I want to announce something here. Following the words from the Prime Minister and Finance Minister, the Health Ministry received a top-up of 800 jobs, 800 posts, 200 doctors, and 600 nurses. It's a big step. We started testing at first. Anyone who is really just a few cases of testing. And we later reached 750 tests a day. That's a lot. But we want to reach 2,000. We'll do it thanks to all the tests that we're doing now. We'll do that. I want to expand on this. I've been in politics a long time. A long time. I've never seen a situation like this of a Prime Minister who is inexhaustible, invests his full energies to make sure everyone is healthy. I've never seen it. People said elections from elections. Now we can see this after elections. So people are beginning to search. People will say, well, he asked for national unity. What does that mean? Well, it's politics. He's investing all his energies. He's inexhaustible. He's drastic steps. We're in the month of Adar. But health is the most important thing. I want to say something else the Prime Minister said in the context of 2 times 2 times 14. Once there was someone who helped a king and saved him. So the king went to give him a prize, and the king asked him, what do you want? So he said, take out chess, a chessboard, and on each step, double. 1, 2, 4, and give just 1 grain of rice. By the time he reached the middle, he'd gone bankrupt. So, someone who does maths, you tell me what number you reach. So let's not tempt fate, let it not reach us. I wish everyone full health.